Welcome, friends. Today we are here with another interesting and historical coin that holds an important place in American numismatic history. The inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, In God We Trust, and the famous designs like Monticello, Wheat Ears, and Liberty make this coin even more special. Every coin carries its own unique story and represents a different era, and the coin we are going to explore today also reflects the economy, culture, and history of its time. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent is one of the most recognizable and widely collected coins in American numismatic history. This coin belongs to the famous Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which was produced from 1909 until 1958. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse displays two wheat ears surrounding the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. The motto In God We Trust appears above Lincoln's portrait, and the word liberty is located to the left of the bust. Millions of Americans use these coins in everyday commerce, making them a familiar part of daily life during the 1950s. The year 1956 was a period of economic growth and prosperity in the United States. During this era, pennies were still an important part of everyday transactions. The 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent was struck primarily at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Coins from Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while those struck in Denver bear a D mint mark below the date. Hundreds of millions of examples were produced, ensuring that the coin remains relatively common today, although high-grade specimens continue to attract collectors. The composition of the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent consists of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. Its distinctive reddish-brown copper color gives it an appearance that many collectors find appealing. Over time, exposure to air and handling causes a bright red surface to tone into shades of brown. Collectors classify these coins as red road, red brown, RB, or brown, BN, depending on how much of the original mint color remains visible. One of the reasons collectors enjoy the 1956 wheat penny is its connection to the long-running Lincoln Cent series. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the design was created by renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner. The Lincoln Cent was historically significant because it was the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic representation. By 1956, the design had already become an iconic part of American coinage. Collectors often search for high-quality examples of the 1956 cent with strong strikes and minimal wear. Coins that have never circulated, known as mint-state examples, are particularly desirable. Such coins display sharp details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat, while the wheat ears on the reverse remain fully defined. The original mint luster, a bright reflective shine created during the minting process, is another important factor influencing collector value. Era coins of varieties also contribute to the popularity of the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent. Although no major variety from this year is as famous as a 1955 double die cent, collectors still examine 1956 pennies for repunched mint marks, die cracks, off-center strikes, and other minting anomalies. Era coins can sometimes command premiums far above the value of ordinary examples, depending on the rarity and visibility of the era. The reverse design of the 1956 wheat penny symbolizes America's agricultural heritage. The two wheat stalks surrounding the denomination represent prosperity and growth. This design remained in use for nearly 50 years before being replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. As a result, the 1956 cent is among the final years of the beloved wheat penny series, making it especially appealing to collectors seeking to complete a wheat cent collection. Today, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent remains one of the most accessible vintage American coins. Circulated examples are generally affordable, allowing new collectors to own a piece of mid-20th century history. However, exceptionally preserved specimens with brilliant red surfaces and high mint state grades can be considerably more valuable. Collectors appreciate these coins not only for their potential value, but also for the historical connection they provide to post-war America. For many numismatists, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent represents more than a simple 1-cent coin. It serves as a reminder of an era when copper pennies played a major role in everyday commerce, and it stands as a lasting tribute to Abraham Lincoln. Whether discovered in an old coin jar, inherited as part of a collection, or purchased from a dealer, the 1956 wheat penny continues to capture the interest of collectors around the world. Its rich history, classic design, and enduring popularity ensure that it remains an important and cherished part of American coin collecting. The 1945 D. Lincoln wheat cent is a fascinating coin from the final year of World War II and holds an important place in American numismatic history. The coin features a familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, accompanied by the inscriptions, "In God we trust" above his head, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1945 with a D mint mark below it. The D indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse, the coin displays the word 1 cent and United States of America surrounded by 2 wheat stalks, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum. This classic wheat design was used from 1909 through 1958 and remains one of the most beloved coin designs in American history. The year 1945 was one of the most significant years of the 20th century. It marked the end of World War II, a conflict that had affected nearly every aspect of American life. Millions of soldiers were returning home. Industries were transitioning from wartime production to peacetime manufacturing, and the United States was emerging as a global superpower. Every 1945 D wheat cent circulated during this historic period, making it a small but tangible connection to one of the most important moments in world history. Many collectors appreciate these coins not only for their numismatic value, but also for the stories and history they represent. The 1945 D. Lincoln wheat cent was struck using a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was a return to the traditional bronze composition after the temporary steel cents of 1943, which had been produced to conserve copper for the war effort. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. Because copper was once again available for coin production, the 1945 D cent has a familiar reddish appearance that collectors associate with classic wheat pennies. Depending on storage conditions and circulation, examples may appear bright red, red-brown, or fully brown today. The design of the Lincoln cent was created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials can be found on the coin. When introduced in 1909, the Lincoln cent became the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature an actual historical figure. Prior to this, American coins generally displayed symbolic images such as liberty. The decision to place Abraham Lincoln on the cent honored the centennial of his birth and created a design that would remain a cornerstone of American coinage for generations. Collectors often admire the 1945 D cent because many examples were produced with relatively strong strikes. Details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat can often be seen clearly on well-preserved coins. On the reverse, the wheat stalks display fine lines and texture when the coin is sharply struck. Coins that remain in mint state condition, showing no evidence of circulation wear, are especially sought after. The original mint luster and bright copper-red color significantly increase collector demand and value. Although the 1945 D. Lincoln wheat cent is generally considered a common date coin, collectors continue searching for varieties and mint errors. Examples with die cracks, off-center strikes, clipped planches, or repunched mint marks can attract considerable interest. Error coins provide insight into the minting process and often command premiums because of their uniqueness. Careful examination with a magnifying glass may reveal interesting features that distinguish one coin from another. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents in 1945 to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage. These coins entered circulation throughout the western United States and eventually spread across the country through commerce. As a result, many examples survived, making the 1945 D wheat cent accessible to collectors of all experience levels. However, finding one with fully original surfaces and exceptional preservation becomes increasingly difficult as the grade increases. The reverse wheat design carries important symbolism. The 2 wheat ears represent abundance, agriculture, and the strength of the American economy. During the mid-20th century, agriculture remained a vital component of national prosperity, and the design reflected those values. The wheat cent reverse became one of the most enduring designs in American coinage history and is often remembered fondly by collectors who appreciate classic U.S. coins. Today, the 1945 D. Lincoln wheat cent remains a favorite among coin enthusiasts worldwide. It combines historical significance, attractive design, and affordability, making it an ideal addition to both beginner and advanced collections. The coin serves as a reminder of America's resilience during wartime and its transition into a new era of peace and prosperity. Whether found in an old collection, inherited from a family member, or purchased from a coin dealer, the 1945 D wheat cent continues to tell the story of a remarkable period in American history. For many collectors, owning a 1945 D Lincoln wheat cent is about more than possessing a piece of copper. It is about preserving a connection to the generation that lived through World War II, celebrating the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and appreciating the artistry and craftsmanship of American coinage. More than 80 years after it was minted, this historic penny remains one of the most recognizable and cherished coins ever produced in the United States. The 1941 D Jefferson nickel is a significant United States 5-cent coin from the early pre-World War II era, carrying both historical importance and strong collector interest today. This coin is part of the Jefferson nickel series featuring Thomas Jefferson, one of the most influential founding fathers of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. On the obverse, the coin displays Jefferson's portrait facing left, along with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1941 with a small D mint mark below it, identifying it as being struck at the Denver Mint. The reverse shows the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's own architectural masterpiece, along with the inscriptions "E Pluribus Unum," United States of America, and 5 cents. This combination of presidential portraiture and historic architecture gives the coin both artistic and symbolic value. The Jefferson nickel design was introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel after a national design competition. The winning design was created by artist Felix Schlag, whose work became one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. By 1941, the design had already become widely familiar in American commerce. Millions of these nickels circulated daily, used in everyday transactions such as public transportation, small retail purchases, and household needs. The 1941 D issue specifically represents strong production output from the Denver Mint during a period of economic recovery and increasing global tension leading up to the United States' entry into World War II. The composition of the 1941 D Jefferson nickel is 75% copper and 25% nickel, a standard alloy used for durability and resistance to wear. The coin weighs 5.00 grams and measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, with a smooth, plain edge. This copper-nickel combination gives a coin its silvery gray appearance and ensures it can withstand heavy circulation. The metal content remained unchanged until 1942, when wartime shortages forced the U.S. Mint to alter nickel composition for military needs. Because of this, the 1941 D nickel is one of the last issues before the wartime Civil War nickel series began. The Denver Mint played a crucial role in producing coinage for the western United States, and the 1941 D Jefferson nickel is a product of this important minting facility. The D mint mark on the reverse side near Monticello identifies its origin. The Denver Mint was known for producing high-volume coinage with generally strong strikes, although quality can still vary depending on individual dies used during production. Many 1941 D nickels entered circulation across western and central states, where they became part of everyday economic life during a rapidly changing global period. The reverse design of Monticello is one of the most recognizable architectural depictions in U.S. coinage. Monticello was a personal estate and architectural creation of Thomas Jefferson, located in Virginia. The design shows a detailed front view of the building, including its iconic dome and staircase. It symbolizes Jefferson's intellect, architectural vision, and connection to classical ideals of democracy and education. The inscriptions surrounding the design emphasize national unity, E Pluribus Unum, and national identity, United States of America, while 5 cents clearly defines a coin's denomination for everyday use. The year 1941 holds great historical importance because it marks the final phase of American neutrality before entering World War II. The attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941 brought the United States into the global conflict, changing the nation's economy, industry, and coinage production. The 1941 D Jefferson nickel was struck just before this major turning point, making it a pre-war artifact. Within a year, nickel composition would change due to the need for nickel metal in military armor and equipment, making earlier issues like the 1941 D especially significant in historical context. Collectors today value the 1941D Jefferson nickel for both its availability and its connection to pre-war America. While it is considered a relatively common coin due to high mintage, uncirculated examples with strong luster and sharp detail are highly desirable. Key areas of interest include Jefferson's hair detail, facial features, and the steps of Monticello. Coins showing full, sharp steps on Monticello, known as full-step specimens, are particularly sought after in numismatics and can command higher prices depending on condition. Strike quality on the 1941D issue is generally good, though some examples may show weakness in detail due to dye wear or production variation. Coins preserved in mint state condition exhibit strong eye appeal with original mint luster and minimal marks. Circulated examples are very common and affordable, making this coin an excellent entry point for beginner collectors interested in early Jefferson nickels or mid-20th century U.S. coinage. The symbolism of the Jefferson nickel goes beyond its physical design. Thomas Jefferson represents democratic ideals, individual liberty, and intellectual achievement. Monticello represents innovation, architecture, and personal expression. The inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "E Pluribus Unum" reflect national unity, faith, and the philosophical foundation of the United States. Together, these elements create a coin that reflects not just currency value, but also national identity and historical legacy. In modern numismatics, the 1941D Jefferson nickel remains an important collectible due to its historical timing and design continuity. It connects the pre-war American economy with the dramatic wartime changes that followed. Collectors often include it in complete Jefferson nickel sets or as part of early 20th century type collections. Its availability ensures affordability, while higher-grade examples provide challenge and excitement for advanced collectors. In conclusion, the 1941D Jefferson nickel is far more than a 5-cent coin. It is a historical witness to a pivotal moment in American history. From its depiction of Thomas Jefferson and Monticello to its production at the Denver Mint during a time of global uncertainty, the coin captures the spirit of pre-World War II America. Even today, more than 8 decades later, it remains a respected and widely collected piece of U.S. numismatic heritage. The 1946 Jefferson nickel is an important United States 5-cent coin that represents the immediate post-World War II era and the return of normal American industrial production. This coin is part of the Jefferson nickel series featuring Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers and author of the Declaration of Independence. On the obverse, the coin displays Jefferson's left-facing portrait along with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1946. The reverse shows the famous image of Monticello, Jefferson's architectural home in Virginia, along with "E Pluribus Unum," United States of America, and 5 cents. This design, created by artist Felix Schlag, remained one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The year 1946 was a major turning point in United States history. World War II had ended in 1945, and the nation was transitioning from wartime production to a peacetime economy. Millions of soldiers were returning home, industries were shifting back to consumer goods, and the economy was rapidly expanding. The 1946 Jefferson nickel symbolizes this new beginning, as it was among the first full-year issues after wartime coinage changes ended. During the war, nickels had been produced with a special silver-based alloy to conserve nickel metal for military use. By 1946, the United States Mint returned to the original copper-nickel composition, marking a return to normal coin production. The 1946 Jefferson nickel was produced at multiple U.S. Mint facilities, including the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark, Denver coins show a D, and San Francisco coins bear an S. On wartime silver nickels, 1942 to 1945, mint marks were placed above Monticello, but in 1946 the mint returned the mint mark position to the right side of the building on the reverse. This change is an important detail for collectors studying design transitions. The composition of the 1946 Jefferson nickel returned to the standard alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Each coin weighs 5.00 grams and measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter with a smooth edge. This durable composition allowed the coin to circulate widely without significant wear, making it practical for everyday commerce. The post-war economy saw increased consumer spending, and coins like the 1946 nickel were used heavily in retail transactions, transportation, and daily life across the United States. The reverse design featuring Monticello is one of the most iconic architectural representations in American coinage. Monticello was a personal estate and architectural masterpiece of Thomas Jefferson, located in Virginia. The building reflects Jefferson's interest in classical architecture and Enlightenment ideals. The coin's engraving shows a dome structure with steps leading up to the entrance, symbolizing knowledge, independence, and cultural refinement. The surrounding inscriptions reinforce national unity and identity, while the denomination 5 cents ensures clarity for circulation. The 1946 Jefferson nickel is historically significant because it represents the first full post-war year of production. The United States was undergoing massive economic transformation, with factories shifting from military equipment to automobiles, appliances, and consumer goods. The nickel itself circulated during a time of optimism and rebuilding. As such, it serves as a small but meaningful artifact of American recovery and growth after one of the most destructive conflicts in world history. Collectors often evaluate the 1946 Jefferson nickel based on strike quality, mint luster, and preservation condition. Many examples from this year show strong detail, particularly in Jefferson's hair and facial features. On the reverse, Monticello steps are a key grading feature. Coins with clearly defined steps, known as full-step specimens, are especially valuable and sought after by advanced collectors. These coins indicate a strong strike and minimal wear, making them desirable in numismatic grading systems. Although the 1946 Jefferson nickel is considered a common-date coin due to high mintage numbers, its value increases significantly in higher grades. Uncirculated specimens with original mint luster are widely collected, while circulated examples remain affordable for beginners. The San Francisco mint issues are often slightly scarcer compared to Philadelphia and Denver coins, making them more interesting to collectors building complete sets. The symbolism of the Jefferson nickel extends beyond its physical design. Thomas Jefferson represents liberty, democracy, and intellectual achievement. Monticello reflects architectural innovation and Enlightenment thinking. The inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "E Pluribus Unum" represent faith and unity, core principles of the United States. Together, these elements create a coin that is not only functional currency but also a representation of American identity and values. In modern numismatics, the 1946 Jefferson nickel holds a respected place as a key early post-war issue. It bridges the gap between wartime coinage and modern U.S. coin production. Collectors often include it in Jefferson nickel date sets or historical U.S.-type collections. Its availability ensures it remains accessible, while high-grade examples provide challenge and excitement for advanced collectors. In conclusion, the 1946 Jefferson nickel is more than just a 5-cent coin. It is a symbol of post-war recovery, national unity, and economic renewal. From its depiction of Thomas Jefferson and Monticello to its role in everyday American commerce, the coin reflects a transformative period in U.S. history. Even decades later, it continues to be valued by collectors for its historical significance, classic design, and connection to one of the most important eras in modern American development.